This is Tacoincidence, an unconventional masterclass where we learn secrets of breakthrough culture, brand experience, and human connection from the most brilliant leaders, all while we're on the search for the perfect taco. I met up with Johnny Tanner at Don Joaquin Street Tacos. Together with his wife and 7 kids, they are a viral YouTube sensation originally known as the Tannerites. With literally billions of views, they have pivoted their family business focus from ridiculously fun video snapshots into their lives and added the very timely and powerfully uplifting message of YAWI, you are worth it. I wanted to learn why he believes in the power of culture, brand experience, and human connection, what he does to create it, and how it's helped him thrive. All over tacos. It really doesn't get much better than this.
My store, right? It's good, right?
That is really good.
Uh-huh.
Amazing, the cheese.
So first of all, you started with the Tannerites. Just kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, so the Tannerites we started just as I was leaving my career before in the building products industry to start this other business of mine. As I was making that transition, we were also going through a time in our life where we were open to so much other opportunity. I was literally transitioning in terms of my mind and my heart from a person that was very obedient to the 9-to-5 and building a company's dream for them, to opening up my eyes to opportunities around me and really getting into a mindset of, to make that happen, I need to be more eager to take risks and look outside of what we've done traditionally for so many years. And so by doing so, I really had this desire to document more of our family so that I could look back on it.
So where did that stem from?
Well, Sarah, she had our last baby, Canyon, our 7th baby, and this was in February of 2015, and then she found out right as soon as she had him that she felt something, a lump here on her abdomen. Well, we went in to check it out because she was quite worried about it and found that it was a tumor. She couldn't do anything, so I had to take work off. I got to take work off, and so I was the dad, the mom, the everything during that time that she was down, and literally I had to help her. Everything she had to do as well, I had that opportunity to help her. And so during that time, I remember specifically 3 o'clock in the morning changing the newborn baby's diaper with the biggest smile on my face, just going, this is really what I want out of life. This is truly what makes me happy, right?
Wow.
And it's unfortunate that it was on the 7th child.
That's an unusual realization to have while you're changing a diaper in the middle of the night.
3 o'clock in the morning. And I actually have screenshots of my sleep that I got during that week, or 2 weeks. It was literally an hour and a half each night. And I was still just glowing with this incredible excitement for life.
Wow.
And so I went through...
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
It really started even before that point in my desires of who I was and what I really cared about. You know, I really had passions and I had things that I really loved. I loved fishing. I loved doing these things, but a lot of those took me away from my family. And as I was doing those things, I would reflect on how I felt internally and what guilts I had and what doubts I had about what was going on. And I really found that those passions weren't really anything but filling in gaps of things that I was not taking care of at home. And so once I started taking care of those things at home and building those relationships with my family, I found my passion, my true passion, which is being around family. Interestingly enough, we go back to the YouTube channel, and a friend of mine says, well, make a video of it, so you're holding yourself accountable, and then put it on YouTube to be even more accountable, and then your family can see it wherever they live, and you just send them a link, and I'm like, oh, cool, I'll do that. So I started the channel, called it Tannerites, and we put our first video up. And then, our family would watch and I'd throw a video up, but then all of a sudden, as soon as I went to start this business, we took on a financial partner. So I quit that career, a 13-year career. We took on a financial partner the very next morning, and we stopped everything that we were building up into that point because it wasn't scalable to be the point where we wanted to go. So then I found myself 6 months basically retired. And all of a sudden here I am doing that which I was so happy about with changing the baby's diaper, I was now with my kids. And my wife had another surgery during that time. She had she had some radiation as well during that time, so I was able to be there to support her. But we were just doing fun stuff and filming and taking video of it. So we would put it up, I would edit it and put it up. Well, a few months in, all of a sudden, I get a notification saying, hey, you guys are awesome, do this challenge. And I'm like, where did that come from? So I look into it, and all of a sudden we have like 16 subscribers, and I'm like, 16? We only had like 3, and they were the family members. And so I started looking into it more, and they're saying, do you guys know so-and-so? And these are apparently other YouTubers. And so I would look into it and go, wait a minute, these people are doing this stuff full time. So we started doing what our followers wanted us to do. We do this challenge, we do that, we do this and do that. And we kind of started adding that into our vlogs. And we did a lot of different things for growth over a couple years period of time. Well, about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, we felt like we were just making content to grab that quick view, and that's about it. And so that's when we decided to really start really reflecting back on the why we started in the first place, and why we weren't feeling fulfilled anymore. And a lot of it came from we weren't documenting our life. We were more documenting for the purpose of just entertainment. And so we weren't really being fulfilled at all. I couldn't go back on a video and say, on this date, this happened. And so that's when we also were having this strong desire as a family to do more than just to provide video. And so we came up with the You Are Worth It message. And I know that we didn't really come up with it, but we started using that. We decided that after every single video, we would tell our followers in some message or quick form, hey, you are worth it. And not so much to give them anything, but just to remind them of something they already know and help pull them out of this area of doubt and discomfort that a lot of people are going through, right? Because we all know what we're worth, but we forget very quickly. Very quickly. And for someone just a quick, you actually are worth something. And so we started using that, and then we decided, you know what? Let's take our vlogs, our daily vlogs, that we care in terms of our future about, and let's take this message that we care so much about, and let's put the two together, and let's stand behind our message and call it YAWI Vlogs. Let's let the You Are Worth It lead in terms of a brand, and let's put our vlogs behind it. And then we don't know what's going to happen with Tannerites, so we actually stopped uploading altogether on the Tannerites channel. So we killed our Tannerites channel. In a sense.
How many?
600,000. At 600. As soon as the day we hit 600 is when we decided we were going to shut down. So we made that a goal. And we shut down and started this new channel.
By shutting down meaning no new content.
No more new content, and possibly shutting it down altogether. We just didn't know what that meant yet. So we started this up, and it was a real leap of faith, because we went down overnight. We went down 70% in our income, and so that was a big jump for us to do that. And so by doing so, I mean, we hit 100,000 subscribers, overnight within less than 3 days on the channel, and so it seemed like, okay, we're going to get somewhere.
You obviously used that to like springboard, and you said, hey, we're now transitioning to this channel. And
yeah, we did it very strategically. And what we also were able to do is pull over the subscribers that cared about our family and had a relationship with us, and left the ones that didn't care about the family behind. I know that sounds a little negative, but what we were telling them is, on this channel, we're not going to be entertaining you anymore. If you have a relationship with us and you care about the message, then come with us. Otherwise,
it's okay.
There's enough channels out there to take care of what your needs are.
Yeah.
That's where we're at right now. Is we're finally got to the point where we know why the true why we separated is because we need our daily vlogs, and we truly do need that connection with the entertainment as well, and we need the business, right?
Yeah.
But we can't have them on the same channel, because they would take away from each other, and we can't.
Yeah.
It feels good. It feels like that's the way we should have been doing it from the beginning.
Wow, interesting. Well, so what is at the heart of that? What is at the heart of that, at the change, like the You Are Worth It? I mean, because you guys you're sharing your life experience, but it's also like what I hear from you is that you're thinking about your customer, your followers, and so you're reaching out in a different way and crafting a different experience, crafting a different message. So what's that all about? Like, where does that come from for you?
So for
Sarah, I mean, you guys are leading this charge, but where does that
comes from
what's
an
at the
area
heart
of being so highly blessed with something in your own personal life, and knowing that there's someone else on the other end of that could possibly be benefiting, and then trying to figure out what it is that they can benefit from more, that you can provide for them. And so for us, we have dug pretty deep into ourselves to be vulnerable and speak to our audience in a way that helps them feel more comfortable, like they're the back of the school bus, they're the one at the back of the room, they're the one that literally feel like they're the only one that is not succeeding, the only one that's not getting anywhere in life, the only one that's being picked on, the only one that's being bullied, the only one that's being getting in a divorce situation, or their parents are getting divorced, or whatever the case may be that makes them feel like, in terms of comparison with the world, which I think is our biggest problem right now, is we have Instagram that's beautiful, incredible people and pictures. You and I have been taking some pictures today, and we make sure we get the right shot.
Right.
We in our family make sure that we get right to the line, right to the edge of where it might be pushing it a little too far in terms of being vulnerable. And we do that because we want just the one to be able to come out of their situation, whatever that may be, with a little bit more hope, seeing that if they can do it, I can do it, right? And so that's where the "You Are Worth It" message comes from. Is we've had some people reach out and say, you can't say that other people are worth it. You can't claim that other people are worth it. And nothing in this life, no person, no place, no thing can change your inherent your worth. Nothing. We let jobs, we let even number of limbs or lack thereof determine who we are in terms of worth and value. And what we're trying to put out there is none of that matters. You have a value that's specific and unique to you, and nobody can change that except for you, and allowing the outside forces to decrease your value, and only you can make that decision. And so
how does all of that, and it's the strong core message of you being worth it, how does that influence on the business side? Because it certainly makes sense on like the content creation side, and how do you navigate that?
We talk about this a lot because I believe that if you have a good message and you have something good you're pushing out there, you're probably not going to succeed very, very quickly. It's very difficult unless you have it coupled with something that people want, that people are looking for.
Yeah.
Much like the restaurant business.
Yeah.
And you know, they don't necessarily want to be in the business of buying comfortable chairs and seating and in the cleaning business all the time, but it's part of the business. And so we have to do the things within our business to make sure that we're staying relevant in that space. But it's not much outside of being that there's two things that we make sure that we are on both. We actually run 3 channels now. Is we make it fun and interactive, right? And when I say fun, I don't mean all the time smiles and giggles. I mean fun in terms of we're making sure that there's some kind of a tie with a real personal situation that can be also part of an entertainment, right?
Yeah.
It's more of what's happening between 2 people or 3 people or 5 people. It's the interactive pieces and parts to life. So with that, we take that and and when we're making decisions in terms of whether or not we should go this direction because we know this direction will help our business grow and get the views that we would like, does it have anything to do with that fun and interactive and family? And is there a way to put a "You Are Worth It" message in there, or is it contradicting? If this piece right here contradicts the "You Are Worth It" message, in other words, does it put anybody down? Does it make anybody feel less than? Could it make anybody feel insecure? We do, like I said, we push the line sometimes. But there are some things that you can do that are out there that people are doing daily that make people feel less than. And so what that helps us make that decision is, would this make someone feel less than? And we're not perfect. I know that there's been some stuff that's gone out. But that's one of the things that we really like to focus on is fun, interactive family, and then make sure it's not going to push the line and go completely against that "You Are Worth It" message. So this is the payoff for us. I love talking about this because this is actually one of the things that that actually gets me choked up just thinking about it, because once again, we've been given such an opportunity, and if there's one life that changes because of that we have actually never even met that person, then I believe we're doing what we're supposed to do. And to just take it back a little bit, I have this personal piece that I actually talk with my family quite a bit about. Some of them understand it just naturally, but some of them still believe that they're just behind a camera. I picture and you can probably picture this too, but when I'm looking at the camera, I'm not, in terms of our vlogs and talking very specific to the You Are Worth It message or giving a message. I picture on the other end of that camera a child in a dark room that has lost both of their parents to either death or divorce or just the world of being a very career-oriented person, and being in school and not feeling like they fit in, and being at home in a lonely place. That's who I picture right there. And I'm speaking to them. I'm not speaking to the ones that feel like their life is perfect. I feel like I'm speaking to the one where all of us have been there sometime in our life, including myself, and it was lonely and it was dark, and I felt like there was nobody else, like I could be gone and no one would even pay attention to me. And so that's, I want to speak to that, because I believe that when you speak in an empathetic, a very empathetic way to someone like that, your message is going to come across a lot more strong. And so one particular one that comes to my mind was not actually sent by a person that it helped out. It was sent by a friend of this person. And this gentleman was, I believe he was in his mid 30s. And he said, hey, I need to write you this to let you know of the impact that you make in people's lives. He said, I came across your video and I can't even tell you why. He says, because I don't watch your types of videos. He said, but something caught my eye, and I watched several of your videos, and this message of You Are Worth It stood out to me. And he said, and then I moved on with life. And he said, and then a friend of mine called me up and said, hey, I'm struggling. I just lost my wife. I lost my job. I've lost it all. And I got to tell you, I'm pretty much calling to tell you goodbye. And this gentleman said, I need to meet with you. And so they met, and they had a 2-hour, 3-hour conversation. He said he didn't get specifically in terms of how much time, but they spent a length of time together. And at the end of it, he said, listen, the decision's yours. You have your own agency. This is your decision. But I'm going to tell you that, he said, I appreciate you as a friend, and I just want to let you know that you're worth it. And then they parted. And he said, and he didn't hear anything from this gentleman. He followed up with him with no return. And then all of a sudden he went on his front porch, and there the guy is, happy as can be. And they gave each other big hugs, and he said, how are you doing? And he said it was kind of awkward because he didn't want to get into that questioning of what happened. But he said his friend came right out and said, you left something with me that I got to let you know, and I got to let you know I appreciate it. He said, I was there. I was at the point of taking my own life. I was right there. And he didn't give any specifics, but he said, I was there. I was in the act of. And he said, all that I could think about, in fact, it was a ringing in my ears, was You Are Worth It. And so that to me is number one, that's the biggest why to stay in the game. People get in a position where they feel very insecure about themselves, and the only way that they know is to reach out in a negative way. That's what keeps us going, to be vulnerable and continue with these messages, right? That's our why. That's our why. Our why for our family is different than our why for the followers, right? Our why for the followers, in terms of why we put it out there to the world, instead of just keep it to ourselves, is there's going to be one that's going to need it, and we want to make sure that we're providing a very constant ping on a regular basis, just reminding them of that. And if there's one that benefits from it, then we've done our job.
It's amazing. It's really remarkable that, and I think it speaks highly to the idea that there's a tremendous need. That's why you've been so successful, is that people feel that need. Like, that's why they wouldn't keep consuming your message if there wasn't a need that it was filling for them.
Right.
And And like, what a tremendous mission to be a part of.
The cool part about what we do, and this is where we do have an advantage, is ultimately after so much of hanging out in the garbage can, people want something clean. People want something that is
Uplifting,
that makes them feel of value, right? Yes, you're right, absolutely, the value. And that's where we're able to, I shouldn't say help out, but we're able to provide just a little bit there. And I also feel that we in a very large way give people hope on family. Husbands don't love wives, and wives don't love husbands like they should, or like they used to, in terms of support and love and working through things together. Parents don't really, very unfortunately, see that their main job is to help their kids find their value.
How does this mindset of like creating value and worth and really like this meaningful experience for your viewers, how does that translate? You've run other businesses, and how like anyone that's listening to this and you're like, okay, well that's great. They're in a business that's producing really enriching, uplifting content all the time. What about my business? Like how would you say that translates to any business?
It's no different. In fact, if you look at, so I worked in a business where I worked around at least 8 to 10 hours a day of a work week.
Yeah.
People that I had either hired or I got put to work with. Well, those are your family. That's your family. And just like your job as a parent is to help your children leave the home, leave the nest, at whatever age they decide to. They might stick around until they're 30, 40, 50. They leave there feeling like they can become who they should be. And they leave there with a value placed upon themselves. And you've done your jobs well. It's the same thing with employees. If you hire an employee, you are now responsible to help them become the best person they can be. Now, yes, it's their responsibility, but it's your responsibility to take that person to the next level.
Totally.
And so in business, if I were speaking to a CEO and they were struggling with hitting that next goal, I wouldn't even ask about product. It's irrelevant. I wouldn't ask about the building space. I wouldn't ask about any of those things. I would ask them how their family's doing. Mm-hmm. And I would ask them specifically what their family's passions are. I would ask specifically how well do they adhere to what those passions are. How well do they get in and work in terms of those passions. And they'll find very quickly how much their business can grow, because those employees will help them figure out the next best product. Those employees will help in terms of their customer service levels go through the roof.
Yeah.
And those employees will help them build a better space.
So that's like your business family is your family, just like in your case, your family is like, that's your business also.
Absolutely. It specifically was stated, you are part of the family.
Yeah.
He is a proven successful businessman because he sees his employees,
right,
and I can tell, and he sees his customers as part of the family.
Yeah.
And once you get into that mindset and you're forgetting about the wallet and the quota, and you're caring specifically about who those people are, because there's no accident that you're working with these people. There's no accident that you're with these people, just like there's no accident that you have family members and these are your kids. There's no accident. You should take every opportunity to see who they are and find value in them. Just because in the terms of leadership and hierarchy in the business, you're up here, does not mean this person doesn't have some incredible values to them and specific talents and abilities they've been given that just could blow you out of the water.
Right.
And help your business grow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you're doing it with an understanding of what your need, the customer is coming in for and what their needs are, they're not just coming in for a taco. And if you're building it on top of that, your employees, if you realize that they're not just there to have a job, they want an experience just like your customer wants an experience.
Yeah.
And if you're giving them the experience, everything changes, because that employee will now take a little extra, which, by the way, these tacos were made at one time without the cheese on them.
Yeah.
Somebody was feeling the experience and decided to put cheese on there and create a different experience.
Yeah.
And then that customer felt that experience. Now, I guarantee that didn't come from an owner of a large company. That came from an employee. that decided to put something out there, or even just someone within their own home. What I'm saying is that employee can bring so much value but they can't do it until they feel value themselves. And that customer can bring so much value to the experience, like a concert.
Yeah.
If you're up on stage and you're giving them an experience, that experience down there is going to create so much more experiences for you later on, because people are going to see videos. They're going to hear like the crowd going crazy. It's a relationship, and it's a relationship and an experience.
Yeah. What are some? I mean, you're like a customer experience fanatic. I know this, and much like me, like you can't ever not see things. Right. Like you just. Like it's just like we've talked about this a lot.
There,
And what are some like examples that you've had, or some that stand out recently of just like knock it out of the park?
So my daughter wanted a dress, and she
at the mall, right?
Yeah. And she had all the kids had got their Sunday clothes together, and she is hard to buy for. I don't dare, nor does my wife, go and buy for her because she has a very particular taste. So I said, okay, I'll go with you. This is a fun video to film. Dad and daughter go out for so that's another opportunity to build a relationship with her. So we go to the mall, and it's getting late. It's very late. So we figured we could just jump into a few stores and see what awesome, and take off with one. Well, we go into one particular store and look around for a moment, and there's a few that she likes. We kind of looked at them, and then we walked out. Well, speaking to the point you just made, no one came up to us and even said, hey, can I help you? Or, hey, welcome to the store, or whatnot like that. Well, the second one that we went into, there was, hey, how you doing? Doing good, how are you? Let us know if you need anything. Okay, we will. Walked in, looked around, saw a few, same thing, left. Went to another place, had a lot more dresses, a lot more to look through, and we found two, but didn't find anything she liked. And that took up about 45 minutes of our time. Well, they started announcing that the place was closing, the mall was closing. So we're walking, and we both look in the store that somehow we missed coming in. It was around the corner on our way out.
Okay.
And they're getting ready to close, like, the roll-up.
Right.
They're getting ready to, and some of them had already closed up.
Sure.
Well, we saw one dress, and so we go, and we kind of beeline for it. And as we're beelining for it, a girl comes out of nowhere and says, hey guys, welcome to the store. Well, and I don't remember the store name, and like, oh, thank you. And she's like, what are we doing here? What's going on? And I'm like, well, I told her the same situation I just told you, and she's like, oh, well, you got to have a dress. We got to find you a dress. So I think this one would be perfect with you. Oh, you're so beautiful. You've got, let's see, this one's perfect. This is probably your size. What do you think? Dove right in between us and took over. And she wasn't like overly excited, like maybe as much as I am right now, but she took over.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, so there's a changing room right there. You can go try those on, or we can keep looking. And it was just a small little box store, right? Like this space right here.
Wow.
But she showed us a whole bunch of stuff. And so she said, oh, this would look so cute on you, but there's a skirt that goes with this other one that would match perfect. And like, I think that'd be perfect for you. I'm gonna go back in the back. You try those on. I'm gonna go see if I can find the skirt size. So she goes, and we're just like, I'm sitting there and I'm talking, and I'm talking to the other associate that's there, who, by the way, was one of our followers.
Oh, okay.
And so we had a good conversation, but the other girl was not. All of a sudden, the girl comes from the back, and she said, she's holding this dress, and she said, just so you know, this is not even out yet. I'm not even supposed to put this out till next week. And this is Saturday night. But I want you to try this one on because I believe that you want this one. I believe that you would want this one. She goes and tries it on. Her smile was from grin to ear to ear. Danielle was so excited, and she's like, this is the dress. This is the one. And so we actually put them on video saying, thank you, you are worth it. We need to hire people that give people a good experience. We need to hire attitude. I call it hats. Hire attitude and train to the hat. Train technical. Hire attitude, and you can train anybody to do whatever you want them to do. So these are young girls that their boss, owner, was not there. They're just closing up for the night. And by the way, when we came out, stores were closed.
Everything's closed, yeah.
Very patient. So she created an experience for us that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Ever forget.
I'm sure
And my
your
daughter got the dress.
Right.
and the experience.
Yeah.
And my daughter left there. We were talking on camera about it. She's like, those girls were phenomenal. Like that one girl just like helped us out and ran, and she went back in the back.
Yeah.
And who pays attention to inventory that's coming in? You're supposed to put out next week if it's an employee that really doesn't care about anything but just their job.
Right.
But this girl cared, and she remembered.
Right.
And she took it out of the box.
Right.
Her boss may have said the week before, if you take that out of the box and sell it to a customer, it's gonna be your job. We don't know, but she didn't care. Yeah. She cared about the customer and the experience.
Right.
Because she took the time to say, what's happening here?
Yeah,
Tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, we need to find and really create and foster an environment that attracts those types of people. I think as soon as businesses, if all of our businesses did that more, we'd imagine the type of world we would have.
Right? Yeah. It's interesting that we focus so much on making sure that storefront is so perfect, that the walls are so clean and perfect, and that this environment is so phenomenal. But we forget that these employees are leaving their families, the people they care about, to come and do something to help you build your dream. You need to treat them like they are part of the dream as well.
Yeah.
As soon as you do, they become invested completely into what you're doing. As soon as they feel like they're part of the family. Mm-hmm. And I've worked for companies like that. You don't push, you run and push for a company that includes you in their family.
Yeah.
And to me, that's customer service, is basically going, what does this person want?
Right.
But don't assume that they're here for clothes. They're here for an experience.
Yeah.
Don't assume they're here for food. They're here for an experience.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is there's so much focus on customer service as being this entity, and brick and mortar being perfect, and our online. It really needs to be about the experience, and that only can be enhanced to a level of keeping a customer caring through a personal interaction, a very personal interaction, right? And it doesn't have to be marriage. It doesn't have to, it doesn't have to be any of those things. What it needs to be is a real care for that person and what they're going through. It's the "you are worth it" message, right? They're having a hard day, whether they have a smile on their face or not. Let's see if I can enhance the positivity that's happening in their life right now, because it is.
Yeah.
And how can I do this? It happens in the why. That makes sense? You'll always figure out the how as long as you understand the why. Mm-hmm. And the why for me is we need to continue to build relationships and not just businesses.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that we've, what's interesting, what we see happening in our society is that technology in many ways has isolated a lot of us in so many ways and made relationships feel distant, ironically.
Right.
And then it's the kind of flip side of that is that people are now longing for meaning. They're longing for that connection. They're longing for someone at the dress store to be real, right, and not just be like punching their time card.
That's right.
One of my favorite experiences recently, a friend of mine, Emily, she's like, "You're never gonna." I love Trader Joe's and have had some really cool experiences there, and she came up after I shared this one experience about Alec that changed this customer's tire, just above and beyond already. And she's like, "Well, you're never gonna believe what happened to me at Trader Joe's." I'm like, okay. She said, so my husband and I were checking out at the cashier, and they asked us, "How was your day?" Normal question. He goes, Trader Joe's are super friendly, but they're like just starting a conversation, normal. She's like, "Well, I was kind of tempted to just respond the way I normally do. Fine, yeah, good, whatever." And she's like, "No, I'm going to tell him what happened." So she said, "Well, actually, we bought a car." And the cashier reaches back behind them, grabs a bouquet of flowers, and says, "Congratulations."
Are you serious?
Right?
Wow.
And gives them this bouquet of flowers. And that to me is I just love that.
Yeah.
It's blows your mind that level of empowerment to create and really celebrate the human that's in front of you.
That's customer service, because that gentleman also left with something.
In the same vein, it's the goodness spreads like the I mean it you, the what your message is, you are worth it, is like, seems to me like the best customer experience strategy that anyone could have. If imagine if every business looked at their customer as someone of worth, that I need to create whatever efficiencies and like productivity tools to help them, but I want to connect with them and provide value in their life because they're worth it.
I think the successful companies are doing that.
Yeah.
If you really look at a successful company, that's what they're doing. We talk about loving what you do. Can they love their work? Can they love their job? Can they love what they do from this time to this time? It all depends on what kind of experience they're creating for the person on the other end of that, whether it be somebody on the other side of the cubicle, whether it be somebody that they're either working for or working that's working for them in terms of the hierarchy. What kind of experience is happening with that, right? And don't take it so serious, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason to take it too serious. And that's coming from a parent that takes a lot of stuff very serious, right, in our business. And but anyway, I guess at the end of the day is and you find value in these things, is when we walk into a place. Sub-Zero was one of them. Here's another experience for me.
Yeah.
We walked in there a few nights ago with some friends. And as soon as we walked in the door, a little bell rang at the door to indicate that there's new customers. Hey guys, welcome to Sub-Zero. Come on in. Like from the back, from the dude that's back there scooping the stuff, you know? And he's probably 22 years old. He's probably my son's age, right? That guy right there, if I had a business where I was hiring, I would have literally said, I know I'm here like at Sub-Zero to eat. I hope they're treating you well, because if things aren't going well, I want you to know I have a spot for you.
A job for you. Totally.
Because attitude is everything. And he doesn't have to do those things. He may have been asked to, but he didn't have to do it in such way that made me feel like, okay, I'm in. And then as soon as we got to him, we're like, okay, remember, somebody's telling us about these dragon things. They're like, dude,
You gotta try.
dude, you haven't tried, you heard about it. No, you did not. Watch how this happened. Much like with the experience we just had, he said, okay, watch this. We take these things right here, which are blah, 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 he explains, and he says, and then we take the liquid nitrogen. Watch this, watch. Like he was doing like the whole thing. And we're like, we became part of the experience.
It's like part of the show, right? Yeah.
Where do they get that from? This is probably a guy that right now is like, I don't know, playing video games or something,
or
and nobody even knows that he's there.
Yeah.
You just don't know. And some people are just built with that excitement for life. How do you then get employees that aren't excited for life to get to that point is a big question. And I think it goes back to the why. I think he understands the why.
Yeah.
He goes into there and the why is, we got to give these guys a really cool experience.
Yeah.
And they have, they've got this really cold, it's just ice cream. It's not even, really, how do you make ice cream cool? Well, it's the experience, right? I loved when I heard stuff like that, because that means they understood the why, and the how takes care of itself, right?
Yep.
Well, then how do I do that? As soon as you understand the why, opportunities will be there for you, and you just take them. You just take them. Nobody could have ever trained the gentleman at Trader Joe's to give flowers to someone who bought a car. And I think it'd be said about being on social media.
Yeah.
I think it'd be said about anything. If we just decide that we're going to create a better experience, then I think we'll just inherently jump to that next level, and the how will take care of itself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, and I mean, and we don't always know what situation people are like what situation they're coming from and having a touch point with our business or our lives. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So I think, like this idea of you are worth it, if you have that mentality of like, this is a human in front of you that has feelings, and you can just connect with them. You don't need to like get deep and have this like heart-to-heart conversation. You could.
You're not getting down on one knee and proposing.
You're not proposing. Exactly.
No.
And that's when, then that inspired this experience that Emily told of the flowers. And it's just, this is, as, this is all that we love talking about is this, this heightened sense of, I mean, imagine, I get so excited about a world where every single business, or where more businesses like care that much more to do a little bit more to restore this level of humanity to the business interaction, that we
Absolutely.
create personal connections, and that it's possible to do in simple ways, but also scaled. Like, it's possible to create personal connections on a scaled basis, and it does not matter what business you're in.
It doesn't.
One of the things I always love to ask is, what would you suggest, like a business leader or someone that has influence over their family, their brand, their business, their whatever sort of volunteer opportunity, that maybe they're like, yeah, they feel inspired. They're like, I want to do something. I want to create a more human experience. I want to connect with people in more meaningful ways with what we do in our business. What could be something that they could do right now or within the next 24 hours to dial up, to like amp up the humanity of their experience?
I think the biggest thing, as I look at it from a business owner standpoint, and level that off with like a dad or a parent or even a teacher, whatever you want to, however you want to put it. I would personally, I think the biggest impact you can have is, and I don't want this to be pictured as something that is down, because it's not down, but getting on their level. One of my favorite things to do was, as a branch manager of a company that distributed building products to the customers, was go out and pull orders with my employees, and treat them with the same level of respect as I would expect them to have for me. And so, hey, what can I help you with? Okay, let's go make this happen. And oh, by the way, I would always do my best to do it faster than them, so that later when we had those conversations about more customer service, that I was leading. But if you have a son that you want to play basketball, but you find that he's in the backyard playing in the dirt instead of playing baseball, but you really want him to become a baseball star, you need to look inside and go, what is wrong with this relationship? I want him to become something that he's not. How do I help him become something that he is? And you can, I think in business you can do that same thing with employees. You might have the person in the wrong position, but you haven't taken the time to get on their level, whatever that may be, and find out what it is that their strengths are, and go in there and work on their level, whatever that may be. And you'll find very quickly they have some values that you never knew about, ever knew about. Mm-hmm. And so I think as parents, as leaders, in terms of the world of hierarchy, I think we feel like we have already been there. We've already been in their shoes, so we don't need to try to understand more, right? We've been there, and so they just need to listen to what we know. And if we just take that hat off, put on our grubbies or whatever it takes to get on that level and just forget about ourselves for a minute, you'll find very quickly how this piece works for whatever it is charge that you're trying to move forward. And so for me, it's just, again, they are worth it. Now you go find out what it is. Show them that they are worth your time and your effort, and just show them that it's worth that little extra effort, and you'll find very quickly what it is that their strengths are, very quickly.
So awesome. It's incredible. It's powerful. I think it's going to change the world.
My hope is with our channel is that we get number one to the few that are really feeling outnumbered, but also give hope to the ones that feel like they have it all, but have nothing at all.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. I've got everything, but I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I have everything, just not satisfied. Mm-hmm. It's because you actually have been working on something that's not relationship, and it's not of the values you and I have been talking about.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your insight. Thank you for your heart, for everything that you're doing to make the world a better place. One heartfelt video post at a time.
One YAWI at a time.
One YAWI at a time. What's the future hold for YAWI? Like, what's this year and beyond look like? Is this an indefinite thing? Are you like, we're doing this till I die sort of thing? Or have you really thought about that?
I think for us, in terms of our business, we're just going to keep growing it, because if there's one more that we can reach tomorrow than there was today, then obviously we're doing our job. And so the only way to do that is to make sure that we're doing those things that we actually have to do. Like we're talking about the chairs and the tables, those things we have to do to stay relevant, but never forget about the message.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank
It's
you.
been absolutely awesome.
Always.
Inspiring, and as it always is.
Special thanks to our host, Don Joaquin Street Tacos, for creating the ideal place for us to talk about breakthrough culture, brand experience, and human connection. Joaquin himself let both Johnny and me try our hands at being a taquero and showed us exactly how to shave the pastor pork from the trompo. We'll never forget that type of immersive taco experience or the delicious tacos. Join the taco journey on my website. You are not going to want to miss out on the resources, courses, and of course the national taco tour I'm planning when I launch the book, Search for the Perfect Taco. So follow me on social media, subscribe to my channel, and tune in to another episode of Tacoincidence, where we'll continue to explore the secrets to level up your culture, brand experience, human connection, and your taco game. Okay, just throwing this in here. El pilón.
Well, I mean, so I'm like losing my mind over this trompo, over this spit.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, do you wanna do it?" Like, what kind of a question is that? Of course I want to do. I mean, yeah. I'm like, would you let me?
So what do you call it? Like carving?
It's a meat carver,
right?
yeah. It's like it's called rebanar, which is to slice. So it's a slicer, but a taquero, a taco master, is what they're called. And so he just let me in
That's amazing.
behind the velvet rope. It was awesome.